Welcome to the I Will Never Forgive Your Dumb, Hateful, Betrayed Me Ass. I'm going to try to make this longer every time. Welcome to the I Will Never Forgive You podcast. This is episode 16, and I'm having fun. This is going to be a really weird one. I'm going to feel like a news anchor, 6 o'clock national news anchor, at least in the United States, where they speak for 2 minutes and they throw to a story. Comes back, maybe references that story a little bit. Then they speak for another minute and they throw to another story. And they speak for another minute. I'm going to be doing this for the first half of this because I've got a lot of pre-recorded material this time. Just the way it worked out. Starting with feedback. I just finished recording the feedback, and considering the length of it, I'm going to put it all together. So that'll be the first thing I throw to. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do the promotion. You can go over to Tier 3. You can support me there. There's a secret timeless podcast over there. I think it's about 2 hours, something like that. Go there. You can check that out. And I'm going to be doing some special videos. I haven't done one for October, unfortunately. So I'll be doing 2 in November. But I will catch up in November. This has been a rough month. I did 12 extra movies. Well, basically I consider Marvel Zombies a movie. So I did 12 movies. I feel pretty good myself. I actually accomplished it. Now, I still have one left to record. So I could drop dead today and not do all 12. The Conjuring 2 is the only one I haven't done yet. I've done all the others. I feel pretty good about accomplishing that, but it set me back on some other things, unfortunately. But we'll see how it goes. But there will be some extra videos every month, normally. And early access on podcasts, just not this podcast. I'm recording it Tuesday night. It's supposed to come out Wednesday. Like I said, it's been a bad couple weeks. But typically, you'll get early access a couple days. And you'll get the bonus podcast episode and all that stuff. And you just help keep me in the podcast business. Because this is basically a side hustle. So, that's that out the way. I'm also going to be doing something soon on my old channel. My Not Safe for Work channel. My basically shadow ban channel. Because I'm feeling very confined about not being able to cuss very much. And so I want to do some really uncensored reactions. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I think I'm probably... Let me know if any of these interest you. I'm going to throw some things out here. I'm thinking about doing Welcome to Derry. Or doing Stranger Things Season 4 and then Season 5 when it comes out. I've watched the first 3 seasons. But I haven't, done... I reacted to the first 2 episodes of Stranger Things Season 4 whenever it first came out, 2-3 years ago. And then, I forget what happened. There was something that happened that slowed me down, and I just never got back around to it. But, Stranger Things Season 4 and 5. Or, Welcome to Derry. Or, From. Or The Institute, which is also Stephen King. Or Revival. One of those shows. I'm thinking about doing something. I just want to do something where I can just be uncensored. And just, and it'd be in my spare time, so, I'm not going to do anything until I have it completely finished. So, we may be talking about January, probably. But, when I get it completely finished, I'll throw it up on early access for people to check out, and then I'll start putting it out over in the other channel. But if you don't know, I have a second channel. I do have a second channel. There's a bunch of shit over there. I did Hunter x Hunter over there, if you're interested in that one. I don't think I've done any other anime over there, as far as I know. I did do... Oriole? Is that what it's called? That's over there. There's a couple seasons of Always Sunny in Philadelphia that's over there. So there's shit over there. It's in the link of every one of my videos. It says Not Safe for Work channel. So that's my other channel. Alright, so now that we've hyped that, we've got all that shit out of the way, let me go ahead and throw to the Q&A, and then I'll come back. And our leadoff batter, considered yesterday was the 18th inning World Series game. I don't watch baseball, but I am up on the news, so I'm aware of what happens. Our leadoff batter is Ariel. You might already realize this. I would not count on whatever the hell you're next going to say being something I already realized. Don't put any money on it. Or figure it out as you go further in. I don't feel very good about my chances on that either. But I don't think that in the Apothecary Diaries, it's explicitly explained that the indentured servitude in the palace is set up for families to sell their daughters into contracts so that they have fewer mouths to feed. and receive a portion of the pay in exchange for the palace getting workers. Yeah, it's not explicitly explained, and I didn't really put this together until you explained this. And then I talked about this I just did 4 more episodes of the Pocket Diaries. I talked about this there, where you had explained this, and it all came into focus, because I thought it was basically government-sponsored kidnapping. I didn't even think about the family selling. I was thinking you could just bring somebody to the palace, and they will buy them for you, and they'll send you half to pay. It makes so much more sense that you're basically being like a poor family. We have one less mouth to feed, and we get part of her pay, and then she gets a job for a couple of years, and she gets training, really good on-the-job skills, makes some connections, makes some networking, maybe gets married. It's a win-win situation. Especially, I assume the father or whoever's in charge of the family, maybe the father's gone, the mother, whoever's in charge of the family, I would hope would ask the daughter, "Hey, do you want to do this? Look, we've got all these daughters. Do any of you want to do this? This would really help the family." You would hope they would say yes, and it would be a win-win for everybody. The family wins, they have less people to feed, and they have more money to feed the less people they have. And then the person that goes to the palace they have career opportunities. Maybe they stay there and work. They're drawing a salary. They're they're able to save up some money. Maybe they get married. Maybe they make connections that gets them a job. Say they want to be a baker or something. They make connections in the palace that helps them set that up for their next stage of their life. So it's a win-win scenario. I didn't put any of that shit together. So I'm really glad you explained this, because that helped me understand the next 4 episodes I watched after I read this comment the first time. The government doesn't sanction / condone kidnappings to take advantage of this. Yeah, okay, so that makes so much more sense. But having this incentive there might unintentionally encourage sex activity. Yeah, and I think it does, obviously, because this happened to our protagonist. This still isn't a great practice. The daughters might not want to be there. In a perfect world, you'd hope that they would. They would see the opportunity in front of them. And if you're in a house with, say, 4 siblings, 3 of them there's you and 4 others, right? Only one of them's a boy, the other 3 are girls. And it's just the mom, and she's working, and so you eat 1 meal a day, and basically you're starving all the time, and there's never enough, and there's infighting among siblings who gets a little bit more, and all of you are having to work at a very young age just to try to bring in a few extra pennies. Even if you say up front you don't want to go, I'm hoping that once you get there and you get in 3 meals a day, or probably 2, that's how they worked back then. Still, 2 solid meals a day, you don't have to fight for it. You're clean. You're treated with a modicum of respect. And, you're already a hard worker because you got to be a hard worker at home to get by, right? I would assume you would think you were better off. There'd be an odd person who just, everybody, there's always a rebel, right? I think most people would feel like this is an improvement of the situation. I can put myself in that place. I would think it's an improvement. So I think it's a win-win, unless you get kidnapped. Because she was already fending for herself. She wasn't fighting for food. She had a good situation, and she got pressed into this service because she got kidnapped. That's why she's so pissed off about it. And I am too. The daughters might not want to be there, but they have no choice but to do what's decided for them by their parents. Yeah, and that would be the other scenario. But it's an acceptable practice for the time period, while the kidnappings that happened to take advantage of it were not, and were probably hard to track, prevent, prosecute, etc. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to take a slave's word for it, are they? So I'm glad you explained that to me. It makes a lot of sense. Also, Ariel. It's been a long day. Ariel, maybe you were intentionally not looking at soap operas for a long... Yeah, you were 100% correct. I was not looking at soap operas, because F soap operas. I don't consider that filmmaking. I don't consider that storytelling. It's a hack job. I mean, it's just... I've talked to people that have worked on them. Literally. If you're an extra on a soap opera, I have talked to people who do this. You have 2 lines. You wait in a green room. They bring you out to the stage. You're already in costume for what your character's going to be. The set's already there. Any other extras, like say you're a waiter at a restaurant, and so they have their restaurant set. And so they have Your first line is, here's your wine, sir. And then your second line later, when they signal you to come back over, is here's your bill, sir. Right? So they come in there when they're ready for the first line. They've already recorded up to that point in that scene. They got you standing over in the corner, out of sight of the cameras. They yell action. The main characters start the dialogue. They signal you, come over and say, here's your wine, sir. And then you F off back over to that corner. And they proceed with the scene. And they keep shooting it. And they've got 2 or 3 cameras, right? Then they signal you again for the other line, and you come back over and you say, here's your bill, sir. And then you F off back over to the corner. They finish the scene. They yell cut. They go over, hand you a paycheck, shake your hand, and tell you to F off. That's it. That's your filmmaking experience. It's one take. Unless somebody flubs a line. Unless you come over and you trip, somebody, one of the other extras sticks their foot out, you trip and fall, and they have to reset the scene. If you manage to get your lines out and neither one of the main actors flubbed a line, that's it. One take. Now they have the 3 cameras. So they have their covers. They have the wide shot camera and they have the 2 close-ups on each person. So they're running 3 cameras. They do one take. You don't interact with any of the other actors there because the camera's rolling anytime you're in their presence. When they yell cut, you've already got a producer over there handing you a paycheck and telling you to you go out the back door, leave your clothes in that closet next to the back door. That's it, man. You don't get to talk to nobody. You're not sitting there. You don't even see them until cameras are already rolling. And you'll be waiting in the green room, and you can be waiting in the green room like 4 to 6 hours, because they're shooting all day long. And there's you, and there's somebody else for a different scene, and there's this person for a different scene, and you can all talk to each other. You're there for the day. When they're ready for you, they come get you, and it's one take, and then you're gone. That's not filmmaking. There's no artistry there. That is an assembly line. That's all that is. It's crap. People like soap operas, man. Like whatever the hell you want. I'm not judging anybody who likes soap operas. Like what the hell you want. I like trash too. There's plenty of garbage I like. I like listening to sports talk radio from Boston. I'm not a fan of any of the teams. I just think the DJs they have there is 98.5, the Sports Hub. They have 3 shows. Each show's 4 hours. They start at 6 a.m. and they're done at 6 p.m. And I like to listen to all 3 shows. Now, I don't listen to every show every time. I kind of dip in and out, right? If I happen to be up at 6 a.m. and I'm making something to eat real quick before I start some reactions, I will fire up that, because that's the only thing that's on YouTube at 6 a.m. I've seen everything else that was uploaded yesterday that I like. So I put that on there and I listen to them. It's trash. It's garbage. It's popcorn entertainment. You watch whatever the hell you want. I don't care. And I don't judge you. You can like soap operas. I don't give a shit. But it's not filmmaking. I have zero respect for production of soap operas. It's an assembly line hack process. It's bullshit. Man, it's like, you think I made some crap in my time. At least we put in the work. We put in the time, man. And actors actually got to talk to each other. We got to rehearse and shit. There's no rehearsing. You don't even get to say, hi, I've really liked your work for the last 20 years. You don't get to say shit. Because you walk off the camera, you'll never come back anywhere close to them by the time they cut the camera. You're already being hustled out of there. So, it's a shit experience for the extras. And these people, and they're grinding. They're doing 20, 30 pages a day, man. Like, it's one take and they're done, man. And they're on to the next thing. They've been doing this for years. They got to process it. They got it down. They know how to memorize the shit the day of, and then it's just there, right? I just don't respect the process. I don't, it's not filmmaking in my opinion. So. Anyway. Maybe you were intentionally not looking at soap operas. You are 100% correct. Because I was looking at actual ass TV shows. For longest running live action shows. But I actually watched General Hospital. Oh. Well, like I said, no offense. No offense, and I actually mean that. I do not intend to offend anybody who watches General Hospital or any of these other hack shows. So, I have no malice in what I'm saying. That has a lot of longtime cast members, though none, of course, that have been there from the very beginning. And here's the thing, like, there's only one thing about soap operas I actually respect. Boy, you will stay employed if you're an actor. Because I love actors, right? Like, so I like to look at things from an actor's point of view. Your ass will stay employed. They will keep you for 40 years, man. And I love the continuity. Yeah, I love the idea that you have a continuous character from 1965 all the way up to where they die, or the actor dies in 2010, right? Continuous character. You get to watch them when they first appeared. They were 16. You get to see them go to prom. You get to see them go to college. You get to see them come back from college. You get to see the first date. You get to see the dating happen for a couple of years. You get to see them get married. You get to see them get divorced. You get to see their wife's double twin come and try to kill you. All that, whatever the hell happens in these things. Every phase of their life, continuously. I would love to. Now, here's the thing. Though it is hack. It's just, I'm sure the acting is trash. I've seen little clips here and there. I'm sure the writing is trash. But I would really be interested in seeing one particular character. Let's say they, like I said, 1965, they're 16. And then 35, so they'd be 51. 61 in 2010. 71 in 2020. Say the actor is the same age as the character. I would watch the hell out of that. Just their shit. You cut out all that other crap. Just their shit. I would like to see their life. That would be interesting. Especially if I got a fast forward button. Okay, this scene blows. I would like to see their life. Because this is the only way you could ever get a character for that long a period of time. Now, some of these other, like, Grey's Anatomy has been on forever, right? I assume Meredith Grey, or whatever the hell her name is, has been there the whole time. Seeing 22 years would be very interesting. I love the idea of Frasier. I've never watched Frasier, but I love the idea that he played Frasier for 20 years, like 9 on Cheers, or 11 on Cheers and 9 on Frasier, whatever. That's interesting. I like seeing long-term character being played, right? Like, I like that shit. I really do. I actually do like that shit. I'll never have time to sit there and watch it, but like, I like the concept that exists. So that's cool. I like that about soap operas. It's not an anthology thing where every 2 or 3 years they blow up the cast and just start a new story. That would really suck. You know, that would really be boring. Because there's nothing I can sink my teeth into. At least this. General Hospital has been around since the 60s, right? So, alrighty. Also, Ariel. Okay, I've decided that you should watch an episode of NCIS for the podcast. Contest. Oh, yeah. Ariel has never given me her request yet. She's also stopped predicting. Like, I've noticed she hasn't predicted the last 2 or 3, you know, because she doesn't want to win again, because then she has 2 things to pick, right? So I think that, like, she's afraid to keep winning. What if she got a winning streak and she ends up with 10 things to pick? Like, then she can't pick 1. How is she going to pick 10? So I think that's what's going on there. Fortunately, she was kidding about this. Thank Christ. Also, Power Death has won twice, and I've never heard from him again. Disappeared the second he won. Like, I'm looking at no comments here. Like, he just vanished off the map. Wins twice. It's like get some football player come in, win Rookie of the Year the first year, win MVP the second year, and just F off and vanish and never come back and never play the sport again. That's what he did. He won back to back, and we have never seen him again. So hope he's all right. Yeah. All right. This is Barracuda. Trust me, it can be enjoyable. If you don't believe, watch first season of One Punch Man and only the first season. He left a timestamp here, so maybe I can figure out what the hell he's talking about. I'm going to go do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I found out the context. I was just basically talking about how it's boring once you get so powerful with one punch you can destroy a mountain, eat the sun, all that shit. So he's saying, trust me, it can be enjoyable. If you don't believe, watch season 1 of One Punch Man and only the first season. Well, I've always intended to watch One Punch Man. I was told very early on that I should wait until I've seen a lot of anime so that I can catch all the satire that they're doing. So I figure once I've got a couple more seasons of JoJo under my belt, I think I'm always planning to go back to Bleach. I don't know when that'll happen. And get some, more Gintama. Gintama is a parody, but it's not really a parody of other anime as far as I understand it. It's just a parody of everything. Other anime, manga, regular entertainment, regular movies, regular TV shows, commercials, politics, culture, everything. Like, they parody everything. So they're not, I don't think they're just honed in on the whole anime of it all. So once I get further into that, and I'm watching some other cool shit like Garden of Sinners, and just started a Pocket Theory Diaries and Demon Slayer. Once I finish those things, probably next summer, I'm thinking I'm just gonna do. This is good intel. Tell me to only do one season of One Punch Man. I think I've seen enough shit that One Punch Man is gonna be hilarious. That's the only thing I've been waiting for. So I'm definitely gonna do that. And knowing it's a comedy, I don't think the whole overpoweredness is going to bother me. If it's a drama and I'm supposed to be invested in the fights, I'm not going to be invested in the fights if they can knock everybody out in one punch. But if it's a comedy, that's a whole different thing, right? This is Hunterstone. I'm pretty sure One Piece has been week to week for a lot longer than since 2024. I don't think One Piece would have as many chapters if it wasn't week to week. One Piece has been going on for 27 years, so that would amount to 1,450 weeks. And we're on chapter 1,162. In perspective, that isn't a lot of weeks missed. Boy, that's the truth. And people have been letting me know we're getting some more hiatuses. They're basically down to 26 episodes a year is what they're going to be doing starting next year. 26 episodes a year. So an average of every 2 weeks. Which means 2 years to get to, depending on how many more episodes we're going to get this year. 2 more years to get to 1,200. 2 more years. Good God Almighty. I don't want to think about it. I'm old. I'm not going to be here for the end of the story, and that's disappointing. Dad missed the ending of Game of Thrones, which, probably a good thing. But he also missed the ending of, what else were we watching? Supernatural. Oh, probably a good thing. Tell us what we're watching. He missed the ending of Arrow. Oh, shit. That's definitely a good thing. He missed Endgame. Okay. Finally, something good. Yeah, so it is a tragedy that he missed Endgame. But that's about all I can think of. Everything else we were currently watching that he had not seen the end of sucked ass. I don't know, man. But yeah, what you're saying makes sense. It's been 1,450 weeks and he's done 1,162 chapters. That's pretty goddamn good, Basically, there's 52 weeks a year. Essentially, in 27 years, it looks like he's taken off about 2 years. So, about 4 years, is it? Yeah. I'm not good at math. 3 to 4 years. He's taken a total of 3 to 4 years off. Total. Out of 27 years. That's pretty goddamn good. And I think the longest break has been a couple months, right? From the manga. When he had his health problems. So I think that's what usually it's about a couple weeks off. I think is what he's taking. And then, of course, the anime follows suit. Every time he takes a break, eventually, 2 years later, they also take a break. Alright, Kill Code. Norai, The Curse, is a Japanese horror movie that's stuck with me forever since I've seen it. I'm not usually a fan of found footage genres. I find a lot of them use it as an excuse for low-effort filmmaking. But Norai, The Curse utilized the medium to the fullest, having some of the best atmosphere I've ever seen in a movie. Really? Allow me to look into that a little bit here. Ooh, 2 hours. Can't fit it in. I was hoping it'd be like 90 minutes, maybe a little bit less. Shit. Next year. Next Halloween. Remind me next Halloween, I'll definitely do that. I don't know if I'm going to do a 12 Days of Halloween again. I mean, the ratings have been trash. But, I'll do some stuff. For a horror anime, I'm interested in what you think about Haigarushi. It was pretty iconic back in the early 2000s, and I'm a big fan of the original visual novel, but the anime is pretty different. The visual novel is a mystery with horror elements, whereas the anime is a horror with mystery elements. How long is it? 24 episodes. God damn it, too much. It's open for a miniseries. There's this question here because I looked it up Hayarushi episode count, and we'll say those various questions that they have answers to. Which anime has over 70? 70. Which anime has over 70,000 episodes? At over 70,000 episodes and counting, this is the longest Japanese animation series in history. It has entered the Guinness Book of World Records for being the longest running animated television series in the world. This shit started in 1969 and is still going. Is this some effing, soap opera, anime soap opera? The hell is this called? Saze-san. The hell is that? Huh. I gotta look into this shit. See, now I'm going down a cul-de-sac, This, the mission creep, they call it, right? The hell is Saze-san? I have to know, man. That should be like Blind Wave. They're doing one episode a year of One Piece. I should do one episode a year of this series. I've literally never heard of this shit. How do they have 70,000 of it? Are they 5 minutes long? Looks like it's a half-hour show. Okay. So that other shit was lying. There have been 8,880 episodes aired as of October 2025. Now, this is Wikipedia. I don't know where the hell they got 70,000 from. So, can't believe everything you read. The hell how can there be this much of it? Even 8,000 is ridiculous. How in the hell can there, I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is. What is the story? In the beginning, Saze was more interested in being with her horse than dressing up in a kimono and makeup to attract her future husband. Hazawaga was forward-thinking in that, in her words, the clan would embody the image of the, I guess Hazawaga must be the author, the image of the modern Japanese family after World War II. Saze is a very liberated woman, and many of the early plot lines revolved around her bossing around her husband to the consternation of her neighbors, who believed that a man should be the head of the household. Later, she became a feminist and became involved in many comical situations involving her affiliation with her local women's lib group. This sounds awful. Good God. There's 8,000 of these. I don't know. Anyway, this is at least anime. I'm talking about anime this time. But this is not the purpose of this series. I wish I could find something short. Because the movie sounded interesting, but it's too long. And then I was hoping for a mini-series of this anime, Hazawaga. Next year. Remind me next year of both of these things. We'll do these. Ran out of time this year. You bringing up the grandpa, Zukin, made me realize I don't think there's really any morally good mages in the Fate Garden of Sinners universe. What we know of the Mage Association so far makes it clear that gaining knowledge of the root spiral of origin is the top priority, and they will harm and kill if needed without reservation. Hell, the entire Holy Grail War was seen as a great idea made by the three major mage families. You're right. They suck. You know what they say? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's a true statement. And these people have a lot of power. So they suck, I like to think I'm a pretty self-aware person, pretty grounded. I've got a sense of humor by myself. I don't take myself too seriously. But if you handed me absolute power, how long would it take me to just become a complete self-absorbed narcissistic asshole? It may take me longer than it would take other people. There are a select few people who can resist it forever. I don't know that I'm one of them. I mean, I'm pretty stubborn. And I would definitely be trying to make things better for people, which means I'll be enforcing my will. So it's a good thing I don't get it. We're all lucky I don't get absolute power. But yeah, so these people, and these people have had absolute power generationally. They've had absolute power for a long time. Maybe hundreds of years. Because they pass it down to every generation, right? So if your father was an asshole mage, and his father was an asshole mage, and his father was an asshole mage, or mother, whatever, you've got all that history, and they're only showing you one way to be, by example and by word and deed, right? So you're going to be an asshole. That's just the way it is. Ariel. I haven't quite finished watching the first season. I don't usually go for horror, but the Summer Haruka Died is a horror anime that I'm kind of enjoying. And this is one of the ones I contemplated watching back a couple months ago. I never got around to it. Or at least intrigued enough to keep watching. It is getting a second season, and the manga isn't finished yet. What I found out from a quick Google search. So I can't speak to whether it's ultimately going to be that good. But I think Ariel has pretty high standards. So if Ariel likes something, then I'm probably going to like it. Or at least, it's not going to blow. So, Here we go with Barracuda. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but after your podcast, I had a dream with a crazy bitch going after me for the stupidest reason. And it was the scariest dream I've had in a while. What scared me was how tireless she was and how she was about to kill me for the stupidest reason. Also, the fact that the woman was an old fat lady was the cherry on top. Sounds pretty goddamn horrifying. And having just watched Paprika a couple hours ago, we had some elements of that. I've been having some pretty bad nightmares lately as well. But nothing this exciting. This actually sounds pretty cool. Just in case someone is curious, I'm going to describe what I remember of the dream. Yeah, this is kind of long. I'm going to read it right now. But you can go to the last podcast and read it for yourself. But I'm going to read it right now. If there's a line that sticks out, I'll let you know. You know what's interesting about this? Like I said, definitely go check it out for yourself. It's too long to read here. This reminds me of what Mark Sanchez did, if you've heard about that. He's an ex-quarterback for the NFL, was an announcer for Fox. And he's now been fired because of this. But he told a guy to move a truck. He was doing wind sprints. He was clearly high or, on some kind of, he was either drunk or high on something, right? Probably both. He was doing wind sprints in an alley behind this massive hotel. This guy brought a truck, and his job is to get grease out of the kitchens from the truck. And then get grease out of the kitchens and put it in the truck and then dispose of it somewhere. So he goes, in the morning, he's going around picking up grease from all these kitchens, right? So he's there in the alley trying to pick up this grease. Mark Sanchez comes over there, tells him to move his truck immediately. He's like, man, I'm just trying to do my job. I'll be out of here in 5 minutes. He's like, no, I'm doing wind sprints. Move your truck immediately. And the guy wouldn't do it. So then Sanchez attacked him. And so the guy pepper sprayed Sanchez in the face, which usually would work. And it didn't work. And so then the man had to stab Mark Sanchez in the chest to get Mark Sanchez off him. This sounds very similar because it's like he was talking about he wouldn't move his car. And so the woman tried to kill him. In this case, this guy Mark Sanchez tried to kill this guy. Because he wouldn't move his truck, he was just trying to do his goddamn job. This sounds similar. I wonder if you had heard of that. I don't know, because I think you're in Greece, right? Ironically. Different kind of Greece, but you know what I mean. I wonder if you had heard about that, but there's chances are this would not have made the news in Greece unless you're a football fan. American football. But those two things are eerily similar. And you told me this 13 days ago. When did the Sanchez incident happen? Weren't there some synchronicity here? October 4th. 13 days ago was October 15th. So this happened before your dream, depending on when your dream happened. You said after the podcast, he had the dream. So basically you had the dream somewhere around October 15th, maybe 16th. So it would have been really cool if the day you had the dream was the same day this happened or the day after this happened. But this happened a couple weeks before that. So probably no relationship between the two things. But eerily similar. You should have some tear gas on you. I love dreams, by the way. Tell me your dreams. Especially since we just watched Paprika. Alright, Hunter Stone. The Chainsaw movie is coming out at the end of the month. It's the next arc in the series. I have no idea when it's coming on to streaming. Well, I'm sure if the movie's coming out at the end of the month, it'll be someplace that I can find it a couple days afterwards. We'll see, but I think it's entirely possible. Yo ho ho. Also, Coco's also talking about this. Chainsaw Man's situation is uniquely bad because it was added as a last-minute request by the director because he was a fan of the series. They took most of the time allotted to the Jujutsu Kaisen movie and had the animators rush it out in 4 months to make time for Chainsaw Man. The Jujutsu Kaisen movie turned out really good. Yeah. Now I did hear, was it the movie or was it the end of season 2 where they had a great animation that they ended up fixing after they first released it? They came back and did more work on it. That probably happened because of this, what you're talking about here. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 also heavily handicapped the animation studio because a huge chunk of the animators quit due to how horrible the workload had become. The Chainsaw Man movie is coming at the end of October, and Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is coming in January, so they've been working on both projects simultaneously. Well, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm honestly surprised they're even coming out at all at this point. God damn, things really got bad, didn't they? People quitting is never a good thing. You being a dick and overworking them is never a good thing. So I hate that. In the meantime, you can watch Look Back, which is a 1-hour film adaptation of a one-shot by name I can't pronounce, author of Chainsaw Man. There's also, same name, 1726 coming in November? What the hell is that? Which is a collection of all the one-shots he made pre-Chainsaw Man from age 17 to 26. Oh, that's why he called the book that, or whatever it is. Each animated by a different anime studio. Oh, so it's a package of short films. That sounds interesting. When that comes out, remind me. I will fix it into my I'll somehow work it into my schedule. Fantastic. Well, that's it for the Q&A. Let's go ahead and get into the podcast. Look at all those bright, shiny answers to questions and comments on comments and digressions and, talking about 70,000 episodes of an anime that somehow went all the way back down to 8,000. I don't know what the hell that was. That was weird. That anime, I didn't really get a good plot synopsis. How can you synopsize 8,000 episodes? They've done everything under the sun by then. By the time they've done 8,000 episodes, by comparison, Supernatural, I think, is the longest running show I've ever watched to completion. I mean, I'm not, I guess One Piece now at this point, but Supernatural had 330 episodes. Each one was 45 minutes long. So, basically, 600-700 hours of content, maybe, about 650 hours of content, I think. Something like that. And this is, these are half hours. This is 4,000 hours of content. Even if you cut out the opening, closing, the intros and the outros, you've got to be talking about 3,500 hours of content. 3,500. So I've never watched anything approaching that length. That's insane. But anyway, we've already talked about that show enough. So enough of that. All right, coming up next, we've got the anime episode highlight, and this is where I talk about the Apothecary Diaries. I've already pre-recorded this, so let's go ahead and do that. So I just finished the Apothecary Diaries episode 8, and considering the fact that I'm recording the podcast, the main podcast, in about 24, 36 hours from now, I'm pretty confident I won't see anything between now and then that's going to top this, so I'm going to record my thoughts. Episode 8 of the Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, apparently there's 2 seasons. Season 1 was an excellent episode. It was a little contained mystery involving a brothel, and it looked like an apparent double suicide. They initially, their first initial reaction was they see two people in a bedroom, a courtesan and a customer, and they're both been poisoned. Immediately think double suicide. I would have thought murder, like somebody wanted to kill them or something. But they may, so that may be like a cultural thing, like it's an actual thing that happens somehow. The courtesan is depressed, the client's depressed, they talk, they both realize they're depressed, they both realize they want to leave the world, and they want to do it with somebody. So I guess double suicide is like a common thing, I don't know. Common enough that that would be their first thought. So that part was weird, but it come to find out, and just skip ahead if you plan to watch this series, although it's a 1 episode spoiler. Come to find out, she wanted to murder him because this guy he comes from a rich family, and so he's made of money. So what he does is he comes in, he picks a courtesan, and she is exclusive to him. He sees her a lot, and he convinces her that he's going to fall in love with her, that he is falling in love with her, and that he's going to marry her, which is what every courtesan wants. They want to get a rich client who will marry them, make them official, take them away from this life, and they can spend the rest of their life being a dutiful wife. It's like I said, it's a cultural thing. We would see that differently here in the United States, but it's all legit, it's all honorable and all that stuff. So he does this to them, convinces them he's going to do this, and then when the day comes when 10 months from now, February 12th, I will buy you out. I'll buy your contract and I'll marry you. And so, until then, I got to get my shit together. And then the months pass, and he gets all this motivated, committed pussy from her. And then you get to the day, and he tells her, yep, I've changed my mind. I don't like you anymore. I'm picking somebody else. So that's a pretty shit deal. You string her along for months, maybe weeks. I don't know the exact time frame of this, but he strings them along for a while. And then he dumps her ass. It breaks her heart because they actually had feelings for him. Somehow. I always thought that the client would fall in love with the whore, not the whore falling in love with the client. The whores are professionals. They know better. They don't, it's all transactional. But apparently, like, some of these courtesans had actually fallen in love with him and had broken their hearts. And so they hated him. A lot of people hated him. The word would get around. He'd do this a couple times at the same brothel, and word gets around. Nobody will trust you anymore. So this particular courtesan poisoned him in a very clever way. I won't get into all the details, but the whole mystery was excellent. How she did it, and also appeared to have been poisoned herself, was brilliant. It was very clever. But the point is, she was going to kill this son of a bitch. She had it all perfectly planned, perfectly timed out, time of day of the week, to make sure that the doctor wouldn't be around and all this shit. Just so happens somebody happened to be around who could help. So her plan went awry. But had it all perfectly planned, was going to kill this son of a bitch. And she failed. But she was going to kill him because of how he had treated some of her friends. And then there was another servant girl, who was like 10, went after this son of a bitch with a knife. She was going to cut him up, man. Everybody hated this dude. He's like recuperating in the brothel, and she sneaks into his room with a knife, and it's not pretty. Man, she was going to slice him dice, man. She was going to cut this dude up for this shit. So, Jesus. That's how much he was despised. Here's the thing. Here's the tragic irony of this. All this. He used them, made them think he had feelings for them, got what he wanted from them, sucked them dry, and then discarded them. Okay? And for that, he was sentenced to death. This courtesan was going to kill him. The young servant girl whose older sister this had happened to was going to kill him. He should be put to death, put to the sword, put to the poison because of what he did. And he's a shitty dude. Don't get me wrong. He's a shitty dude. But I'm just saying, his crime was use them, take everything you can from them, and then discard them. That's his crime. Okay. I'd be cool with the sentence of death except for one problem. In this series, and in at least 2 other anime series I can think of, it's been consistent. The brothels will suck a dude dry. We saw this in One Piece. A lot of people watch this are One Piece fans. You saw this in One Piece, in the Wano arc. They will suck a dude dry. The second he doesn't have any money left, he's thrown on the street and he's never allowed to see her again. She strings him along, makes him think that she loves him. And these are situations where they're not trying to, get a marriage out of it. Just drain him dry. Take everything he's got through emotional manipulation. Suck him dry through emotional manipulation, making you think that she has feelings for you, and then when you have no money left, you're discarded. Does that sound familiar to anybody? It's the exact same thing, only reversed, right? And none of these dudes are talking about they want to kill the women, or they want to kill the brothel, or the matriarch of the brothel, or the madam, whatever they're called. We haven't seen any of these dudes do it. And in case you think I'm, this is true in one series, but not true in another. In this very series, in the same episode, the matriarch of the brothel, the madam, I guess we call them here in the United States, was talking about draining dudes dry. Take everything they've got. She was talking about it in this goddamn episode, in this series. So it's not just One Piece. There was some other series where I saw this too. Whatever that was. Maybe Bleach, or maybe something else. They were talking about draining the dudes dry. When they have no money left, they're discarded. They think the prostitute loves them, and come to find out when they run out of money, she doesn't love them. These dudes are financially destitute. They are ruined. They have nothing left. They've lost their families. They've lost their business. They lost their bank account. They have nothing left because they thought this whore loved them. And come to find out when they run out of money, she doesn't. Exact same thing. None of those dudes are talking about killing the prostitute. But a courtesan gets her heart broken. And boy, it's knives out. It's knives out 1, 2, and 3. It's poison out, right? Like, this sumbitch has to die. We have to kill this sumbitch. Now, this is the first time I've seen of a dude doing it to a courtesan. Up until this point, when I saw in Wano, when I saw in previous series, when I mentioned earlier in this series, I think it was the first episode where they talked about it, I never said it was a problem. I never had a problem. I'm like, wow, man, these women suck. You know, it was interesting, too, because in One Piece, first they just presented like she's a horrible person, she's using these dudes, and I was cool with it. Then, come to find out, they later revealed all 3 guys she did this to, they were terrible people. So, they were evil. So, it was okay, right? One Piece had to make it okay. I was already okay with it. The game is a game. Here's the way I look at life. If you're dumb enough to believe that a whore will fall in love with you, and this is either gender. You know, there are women that fall in love with gigolos. Gigolos are whores too. So this isn't a gender thing, just in case you're wondering. This is cross-platform. This is across the board. Any version you want to talk about this is a truism. If you are dumb enough to believe that a whore is falling in love with you, then you deserve to get all your money taken. Because it's better used by somebody who has a little bit of intelligence. You're naive ass. I'll never forget, I was in Hooters one time. I enjoy the food at Hooters. Yeah, the women are attractive. And yes, they talk to you. It's kind of annoying. I just want to eat my food. I don't want to try to make conversation when I'm digging into these. Man, they have the best chicken in the world. They have great shrimp. You get that buffalo sauce on the shrimp or the garlic habanero sauce. Oh, my God. Oh. Out of my price range these days. The shit's expensive, unfortunately. It's really expensive. It's like $50. You can't get out of Hooters for less than $50. You know, I mean, I ain't talking about just going there to get a hamburger, right? I'm going to eat, right? So they got the good shit. So the food's great. But, yeah, they got the women scantily clad, and they talk to you, and they're like flirting with you and stuff. Because they're trying to get the big tips. I don't give a shit about any of that. So it never worked on me. One time I went in the bathroom, and these 2 guys came in after me. And they were probably like 22. They're babies, right? 22 years old. One of them tells the other dude, "Oh my God, that waitress wants me for my body. She wants me so bad. Did you see her?" It was all I could do to finish peeing and get the hell out of there before I busted out laughing. This dude thinks a Hooters waitress is in love with him. Wants him for his body. Man, there's 50 dudes a day she flirts with, man. You are out of your mind. There's a naive dumbass born every minute. I'm telling you, man. If you are dumb enough to believe that a prostitute is in love with you or in any way romantically interested in you and not your wallet, you deserve to get your wallet taken. So I've never had a problem with it. I've watched this all this time. Never once. My reactions can prove it. I have never once. I don't remember specifically what I said during the One Piece reactions because they were brutal. Like they showed her grinding people into the dirt, man. It was pathetic. They would show up at the brothel broken, crying, sobbing, tears coming out of them. It was bad. I don't remember specifically what I said. I don't think I judged her. You know, I didn't judge because the game is the game, right? So, now that they've turned it on the flip side, and this woman wants to murder, like the sentence is death if the dude does it? If the dude does it, the sentence is death. But if the woman does it, then that's cool, right? She has the bouncers at the door. They kick his ass and throw him back on the street and tell him not to come back again. His broke ass. That's cool. No death penalty there. But the dude does it, then there's a death penalty. What? You know, is that hypocritical? You know, I mean, are men held to a higher standard? Why the hell is a prostitute falling in love with the dude in the first place? Like, they want to get married, but that's still a transaction. It's like, okay, the transaction fell through. We're going to buy this land. Okay, I have this amount of money. I'm looking forward to buying this land. Comes the day to sign the contract. They say, nah, we don't want to sell. That happens all the time, man. And you try to sell a house. the first 3 offers fall through for one reason or another. It's transactional, man. Shit, until the contract is signed and money changes hands, ain't nothing settled, and you don't never see anybody coming over the table, the business table with knives, man. It's a transaction. This marriage is a transaction. You know, he's going to buy you so he can retain your services for the rest of both your lives. It's a transaction, man. There ain't no love. There ain't no love between a client and a prostitute either direction. Why is she thinking that there is? Why is she so heartbroken? She actually fell in love with this sumbitch. Because her heart's broken, now we got to bring out the knives and poison. His heart's broken, you know. Then he gets his ass whipped by the bouncers. So, I don't know. Double standard? Maybe I'm missing something that somebody, you know, especially if you've seen the shows that I'm talking about here. Especially if you can remember another example. I know there's a third time I've seen it, some other series. I remember One Piece, Wano Arc, and in this, there was something else involving prostitutes in anime where this happened. I just can't remember what the hell it is. Maybe it's a movie. I don't know. Because this is an interesting topic of conversation, on top of it being a great episode. The Apothecary Diaries is a great episode. This is my episode of the podcast. You know, episode 8, season 1. But also, it's a good talking point. Because, what the hell, man? Like, the hypocrisy ain't adding up to me. Alright, well, I record this right after the episode, so back to your regular scheduled programming. Well, wasn't that fun? I'm just sitting there throwing this story, throwing to that story. I'm back here like a quarterback, chilling. I wonder what they do, because it's live, right? So there'll be, I'm talking about the national nightly news, which I have not watched since probably 1993, maybe 92. I used to watch Peter Jennings from ABC. He was my favorite. So he gets there, he says, welcome. He does the first, he reads a couple of stories, then he throws to a package. And he's sitting there for 3.5 minutes. So what does he do for that 3.5 minutes? You think he sneaks some coffee? Maybe smokes a blunt real quick? Peter Jennings, Canadian, very possibly. I guess they tell him, okay, here's what we're going to do next. Let's scratch this story. This didn't work out. But anyway, I just sit here for like 10, 15 seconds so I know to edit it out. So I'm not drinking coffee or smoking blunts. So anyway, I like, this is weird. This is weird doing it this way. So we got one more package. Really 2 more. No, we've got 2 more packages actually. So one more package that's actually all cohesive. Let's go ahead and do that now. This is the finished anime category. I finished Yu Yu Hakusho? Whatever that was called. Talked about that for a while, recorded that right after I finished the series. It's been about a week and a half. I don't even remember what I said now. But I'm sure it is very enlightening and informative. So let's go ahead and go to that now. Well, I literally just finished Yu Yu Hakusho. God damn it. If I hear it, I can say it. I can't pronounce the last word if I haven't heard it recently. Damn it. Hasenko? Anyway, finished it. I liked it. It's got problems. I don't know that I understand why it has such a rabid fan base. But maybe it's different for each person. Like, this is something, it's a show that's going to stick with you. I'm going to think about it. I love the characters. I love the relationships. The plot's kind of all over the place. But I do think they landed the plane thematically. I think thematically, the theme, I don't know if this is the theme he started with, but the theme he ends with is you can change the world through how you form relationships by example, you know, instead of just changing the world with violence. Like, of course we can change the world with violence. We can kill a person and that changes the world. Like, if that person is important enough. We can win a fight, achieve a crown, achieve a throne, achieve a place in the world, you know, through violence. But if you do that in a certain way, at least according to this show, then you can inspire people to change and just not be assholes the way they used to be, right? Which is essentially what happened here. Like, he showed the demons, he created peace in a world that had never seen peace. None of the 3 worlds. You had the spirit world, the demon world, and the earth, you know, the living world, they called it. And there had never really been peace between the 3. And he achieved that through forming relationships and in the way he carried himself and in the way he fought. And it's like, you know, I aspire to something better, essentially, is what happened. And it was by the weight of the relationships he formed, he was able to make people choose a different way. You know, rather than, hey, let's have the 3 of us fight each other and connive and stab each other in the back and then one of us takes power. Let's do it in an equitable way where everybody lines up and we all just kind of fight each other. And everybody bought in, mainly because of the force of his personality and his charisma and the fact that he was, just how he carried himself. It's hard for me to articulate what it is specifically about him, but he had a never say die attitude. Even when he was down, he was never out. And he wasn't fighting to hurt people. He was fighting to win, right? He was taking any sadistic pleasure in any of this. And that carried through, and that inspired the demons, and the person who ends up winning, which was another brilliant choice, is just some nobody, which I just love that so much. The person who ended up winning was inspired enough to be like, let's have peace with the humans, right? Let's not eat them anymore, or kill them, or go over there and have demon shenanigans, and try to. It reached a point where the spirit world trusted him enough to take down the barrier. We don't need a barrier since you guys are going to act right. And some people would probably call that a cliche or cheesy ending. There's a lot of times. I think didn't the Twilight series end with instead of fighting, let's talk about our feelings, and we all go our separate ways and we have peace. I remember people said, man, that was a shitty way to end that series. But I think that fit the themes of that series, which is about love. Look, the series is garbage, but I'm just saying. I think it was actually more on theme than people would think. Because it's like, it's from what I know about the series, I only saw the movies via riff tracks. I never actually watched them without riff tracks. But watching it through riff tracks, I was, what I was able to glean from it was never an action series anyway. They included action because that's what people like in movies, but that's not what the show was. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that this is necessarily, even though there's so much fighting in this series, I don't think the series was about fighting, right? So the ending not being about fighting, but being about understanding each other and being inspired by somebody and about the relationships that are formed actually fits the message of the series. It fits the tone of the series. It fits what the series is actually about, which is relationships. Think about how many people he fought who ended up liking him and being on his side and rooting for him. He fought and defeated almost everybody in the show. He kicked Kuwabara's ass 100,000 times. And Kuwabara ended up being his best friend and his biggest supporter. He fought the Australian-sounding dude and the Irish demon and that whole group, and they were bestest friends with him. They loved him. So it really... I think the last third of the series was really strong. And really, I think this last arc, the final 12 or whatever, the final 12 to 15 episodes, I'm not sure exactly where this arc really started. When he goes to Demon World to pursue his father, his ancestor or whatever, to me is the last story in the show. And that one is I would rank it with anything. Because it really landed playing well. One thing I don't like, and they brought this up towards the end, which I was a little surprised they actually brought it up, but they did. I don't like the fact that the two of the biggest... how many adversaries did we have in this series? Probably, we had two major adversaries. And then the end was kind of like there was a triumvirate of adversaries, and we never really actually had a large amount of animosity between them, with Yusuke at least. So I wouldn't necessarily put them in the same vein as the other two, the Fonzie and then the second guy, the previous spirit detective, whatever his name was. Both of them were built up to be super extra special powerful, and both of them wanted Yusuke to beat them. So it's repetitive. It's basically the same story twice, essentially. And so that's weak. So the first 2/3 or the first 3/4 of the series was kind of repetitive. They did basically the same story twice, as far as the adversary. Now it had interesting wrinkles. Fonzie had a relationship with the old woman, the mentor, and she brings that up late too, which was interesting. And that, she could never quite reach him, and so that was very interesting. So that made it different than the other guy being, related to Yusuke and the fact that they had the same job. He became disillusioned with the job. That was also interesting. That made it different. So it wasn't, that lessened the impact of the repetitiveness. But that's still repetitive. It's still a little weak. Doesn't really work for me. For me, the best characters as far as adversary goes was these final two. Was a mummy girl and then the other guy with all the years in the sun and everything. I think his name is Yumi. So those guys were super interesting. Yusuke's character development over the course of the entire series was fantastic. Kuwabara was fantastic. Hiei and Kumarama were great. Those are all the characters that shine for me. These are characters I'll stack up with any characters in any anime ever. The rest of the characters were just okay. Boss Baby was pretty decent. I liked him. And that's about it. Botan was useless. She never did. I was cracking jokes about the girlfriend at the end. What do we know about her? We don't know jack shit. What is she like? What does she aspire to? What's her dreams? What does she want to do in life? We don't know jack shit about her. We don't know shit about Botan. Nothing. She was in damn near every single episode. We know nothing about her. Like, if I was to go to her wiki page right now, what do we actually know about her? Just from the anime, not from the manga. Jack and or shit. Nothing. So for her to be in every episode, like, she's a nothing character, man. She doesn't do anything. Not only do not know anything about her, she doesn't do jack shit. Everybody else gets a backstory. So even some of these people we only know for 3 episodes. Or Mummy Girl we knew for a dozen episodes. She gets an elaborate backstory. We don't know shit about these other people. So, I don't know. So it doesn't... They don't have a deep bench of characters. But that top group, or I would stack them up with anybody, they're really good characters. Excellent. So, for me, like I said, it would be somewhere in my top 20, not in my top 10. But worth watching. I don't think it lives up to the hype. This was super hyped to me by a variety of people. There were... I can't even, like... At least a dozen, at one point or another, a dozen people hyping. Also, my godson swears by the series. Just not. It's not just like people online. It's like people in my own personal life. Somebody else too. Who the hell was that? It may have been Danny. One of the people I work with. She has her own channel. She has a gaming channel. She may have also hyped this to me. Like, there's a shit ton of people have hyped this to me, and I'm not sure I get the hype. I'll be honest. Maybe it's the characters. Because, like I said, these characters stand out, and also probably what really stands out that for me separates this from a lot of anime I've watched. It really is an anticlimactic finale, but it's super satisfying. Like, how many times have you seen an anticlimactic finale that was satisfying? The Peacemaker season 2 finale was anticlimactic, not satisfying. So how many times have we seen that? This actually landed the plane. Like, it wasn't just a finale; it was a series finale. Anticlimax. Like, he's in the middle of a fight and he just wakes up a week later. What the actual hell just happened? What the hell was that? But it works. Because this is about the feelings and this is about relationships and that's what this show's actually about. It's not about the fighting. Where it really works for me. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why people hype it so much. Because most of the time, any other shows that have had tournaments and contests and fights and stuff, and it's very fight centric. Do you think Jujutsu Kaisen is going to end with people talking it out, hugging it out? Okay, we're done fighting here. Come here, man. Let's hug it out. You think it's going to end that? Hell no, man. Hell no. And that's fine. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. But maybe that's what the hype is about. Maybe that's what separates this show from the other shows. Maybe. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's definitely worth watching. I'm glad I did. And the author did this, and then he went to do Hunter x Hunter after that, and that's pretty much it, right? That's his career. Two pretty strong stories, man. Gotta say. 2 pretty damn strong stories. If that's your cultural impact, you could have done a hell of a lot worse than that. So, the guy's still around, so hopefully he does more. But, from what I've heard, his health isn't all that great. But yeah, 2 strong outings, man. Well, wasn't that fun? Hey, man. Since I recorded that, I've gotten some comments from Andy and probably a couple other people. I think there's at least a couple other people, right? Let me look at that real quick. There may be something noteworthy to talk about there. Andy gave it a 75% overall. I gave it an 80. He gave it a 75%. So pretty fair. It was worth it. The characters were interesting. I talked about this already. It was worth it. It was worth the journey. You know, I prefer the journey anyway. Okay, this is the other comment I want to read. This is from Hunterstone. I will be giving this series a 60%. I couldn't give it a higher score. It annoyed me too much for it to go any higher. I enjoyed the ending, but the last arc was so much of a kick to the gut. One might even say nuts. That it wouldn't have mattered if the ending was good or not. Like I said before, I really enjoy the characters. I feel the same way. I do really enjoy the characters. But at the same time, they ignore certain characters. I said that as well. It didn't give them enough to do. I still think the first arc is the best, and I didn't think the Chapter Black arc tops it. What is my favorite arc? The most fun I had was when they were competing to see who would get trained by Granny. You know, and he's floating there in the water. They had all these trials. They had like 2 or 3 trials, right? That was fun. There were so many characters, and somebody was a plant. He was an inside man, and we're trying to figure out who it was. I had a lot of fun with that arc. That's probably the most fun I had with the arc. I also like when they were storming some kind of castle, and they were separated as him. It was him and his 3 buddies, right? And they got separated, and they had to do different things, and you know they came back together. I remember they were on top of these little spiky mountain thing, you know, little pieces of rock, and they're jumping from one to the next. They're trying to get to the guy and all that shit. So you know, that was fun. That was fun. Anytime that they're together and there's action, there's a lot of camaraderie between the 2 of them. That was good. Probably the dumbest thing to happen in the course of the entire series was how many times, it was like twice, that you would just be asleep. He's asleep, so he can't fight. That shit was dumb. You can rationalize it however you want to. Whatever you want to say. Like, it's dumb. You know, it was a way to park the character because you didn't know what to do with it. So, you know, like I said, he had to recover his energy. Well, you could write it where he doesn't need to recover his energy. Or you could write it where he eats a biscuit and he gets his energy back. The writer wanted him to not have the energy so they could sideline him. So they could make him be asleep, right? The writer wanted him to sleep, so they came up with an excuse. That's the way that works. So the writer is lame for doing that. He didn't know what to do with you. You wanted to let other people shine or whatever. So that was dumb. But yeah, you know, overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the journey. I'm glad I watched it. All right, well, that's, I just wanted to touch base with a couple comments there. Now, we're to the main topic. Okay, scariest anime characters. Redux. So, I wanted to talk about Orochimaru. Did I already record that? I can't remember. Does not look like it. Okay, so we can do this fresh. I forgot to talk about this last time. I should have put it in my notes. Orochimaru has really, and this is from Boruto, he has been neutered, emasculated, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but it's just weird to me. See, here's the thing. Okay, we've got Teal'c. Stargate SG-1, he's evil, he does evil things for years, decades. I think Teal'c canonically is like 80 years old or something. He's kept young because of the symbiote, right? Canonically, I think he's pretty old. So he has killed people, he's slaughtered entire villages, killed thousands of innocent people, if not millions, over the course of all the campaigns that they had, you know, all the shit he had to do while he's in Apophysis surface. Then he joins the Earthlings, and he resists. And so we spend 10 seasons with him resisting. We see him early on, the first couple of seasons, they address the fact that he used to kill a bunch of people. Then they kind of just forget about it. But we get 10 seasons of him being redeemed. And even in the first season, he didn't want to do these horrible things. It's just he had no choice. He wanted to find an opportunity to destroy the person, you know, Apophis, the leader that was forcing him and everybody else to do this shit. And he couldn't be in a position to do that unless Apophis trusted him. And Apophis wouldn't trust him unless he killed innocent people. So, yes, it's bad, but he was never like, wah ha ha, F these innocent people. I don't give a shit about him. He cared. He always cared. So it's not quite the same thing. Like this, his redemption arc wasn't as necessary as other people's. And we've seen like Spike killed a bunch of people. Angel killed a bunch of people on that show. Vampire Diaries, Stefan and Damon killed a bunch of people, and they get redemption arcs. People can start out pure evil. Spike was pure evil, really. Season 1, he was pure evil. And over the course, of the 7 seasons and an 8th season on Angel, he had a full ass redemption arc. So they spent the time to do that. My problem with Orochimaru, he starts off pure evil. And then his redemption arc happens off screen. And I think that's my biggest issue with it. Now he's just a fluffy grandfather. And people don't trust him. It's I haven't seen all of Boruto. So it's possible that he's just playing a long game and he's going to end up doing some fuck shit at some point, right? That's entirely possible. So we don't know. But I don't think that's what's going to happen with just what I've seen so far. So he got a redemption arc off screen. They kind of did a little bit at the end of Naruto, where he basically helps us. I can't remember the details now. It's been like a year since I finished the show. But he kind of helped us. So but they were fighting a bigger bad that was going to kill everybody, and of course nobody wants that. So he's going to fight with us. It's kind of like it's like World War II. We fought with the Russians against the Germans, but we didn't like the Russians. We didn't want to fight with them. That's the same thing here. We didn't want to work with Orochimaru. He didn't want to work with us. But somehow he just became, I don't know, bitch made. It's just a pussy. What is? He's like a fluffy grandpa. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, what happened to you, man? It reminds me of Jackie Brown. What happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful. It's like, what happened to you? Like, we didn't get the redemption arc. It's like watching season 2 of when Spike's introduced with season 2. Watching season 2 Spike and then immediately going to watch season 5 of Angel and skipping everything else. Okay, I guess he's good now? The hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it just doesn't seem to work. Really? So I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I hate, I wanted to talk about how he used to be one of, if not the most scary anime character I'd ever seen. This whole tongue thing, just the fact you can't kill this son of a bitch, and he always comes back. He's like the devil, and he's got all these powers, and don't know what the hell he wants. His voiceover actor is amazing. His character design is phenomenal. And now, he's just fluffy grandpa. And we don't know why and how and what, This will all change if I finish Boruto and he's actually been playing the long game and he's always been evil. So I'll feel very differently about that. We're not there yet. I don't know. But to this point, I don't know, man. Like, something about it I think it feels rushed and forced. Now, some people are talking about Boruto sucks. I don't agree. I love the characters. And that's what my criteria for everything. I love the characters. Shit changes. It's a different story. It's somebody else's story. It's the next generation. And I love that it's the next generation. I love that we've improved technology and society has changed and we don't need the ninja anymore because we're not all fighting each other anymore. It's a different world. It's a whole different vibe. I really like that. But, well, for me, the cherry on top would be if Orochimaru turns out to be playing a long con and he's evil as hell. That would be awesome. Absolutely incredible. So, anyway, I just wanted to read, now that we're back we're in the main topic portion of the podcast, just wanted to do that from last time. I meant to get to that last time and I forgot to do it. So that's just a bonus main topic material. All right, now for the main topic, I watch an anime movie, horror movie, and discuss it, and then talk about anime movies in general. So first I'm going to I did a little vlog type thing. Every time I took a break from watching the movie, I would record a little bit. So let's throw to that first. Then I'll come back and I'll talk about anime movies in general. So I thought it'd be interesting to do a little video log as I watch Paprika. It's interesting. I don't like to have long recording files because until it's saved, if the power goes out or if the computer crashes, I lose everything. So imagine getting 90 minutes into a reaction and then the computer crashes and you just lost 90 minutes. You have to duplicate that. Not only did you waste 90 minutes, you have to do it again and then it's not a first reaction. Like, that happened with a movie a couple years ago and I just ended up never doing the movie. I was like, I didn't even finish watching the movie. So once I get past an hour, because it tells you how long I've been recording, once I get past an hour, I have to get really nervous, so I'm going to stop. and save it, right? Because I start getting nervous because I've got PTSD, right? So I never record a movie reaction in one shot. I've got pretty close this month. I've been doing a lot of movies this month. I'm trying to, every break you take just makes it take longer. A 90-minute movie can turn into 3 hours of recording time if you're not careful. So, like Videodrome, I think I did over an hour. And Slaughter, I think, like, it's usually the number of video files I have is usually four. For a 90-minute to 2 hour movie, it's usually 4 files. So it'll be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, right? So like I'll do it like in those increments, especially for the longer movies. It's very rare to only have 2 files. Basically, I cut the movie in half and just do half and half. That's pretty rare. But this month has actually happened 2 or 3 times. Like I think Slaughter was only 2, Videodrome was only 2, Ringu was only 2. Yeah, because these movies have been really good and they're relatively short, and I've just been in a groove this month. So this one, let me see, where am I at this movie? I have seen 20 minutes, and basically, is I wanted to get an energy drink, so I was going to stop recording anyway. So that's pretty much why that happened. There is an hour and 10 minutes left. I may be able to get this all in one shot, but if I don't, anytime I stop the recording for whatever reason, I'm going to put in my thoughts and impressions of the movie at that time, right? So, any break, I'll do that. So, maybe to avoid the extra work, I'll just finish the movie in one more shot. Probably not. It'll probably take 2 more files. I'll stop one more time. We've got an hour and 10 minutes. Maybe I'll do 40 and 30 or something like that. Good breakup. Use the bathroom, whatever, right? Anyway, so I want to talk about the first 20 minutes. I don't know what I expected for this movie, but I gotta tell you, man, this shit is really good. It's about dreams. I assume you've watched it too. If you have not seen this movie, you need to stop this podcast and go watch it. Paprika. You need to go watch this movie. Now, I've only seen 20 minutes, but the first 20 minutes are fantastic. It's about dreams. It's basically Inception, the movie, the anime movie, I mean. You can incept people's dreams. There seems to be evil afoot. Like, we're kind of early, so I'm not sure about adversaries. I'm not sure I can trust. I've just now started trusting Big Boy here. I like the very first scene with Red. I mean, and then Red's in the credits. I think her name might actually be Paprika. I'm not sure. But she's very charming, very whimsical. I like her a lot. She's probably going to end up being the evil big bad, like the complete asshole of the movie. Most likely. That's going to be what's happening, because that's my luck. I like somebody that turned into evil, right? But I like her so far. And, but she's only been in that one. She was in the scene, and then the credits, and now we haven't seen her for like 15 minutes. So apparently this woman here is our, apparently she's going to be our main protagonist, her. Then there's 2 dudes that she's working with. So it's very interesting. I love the concept, and there is a creepy factor. Now, this is listed as one of the best horror movies. I went to a list, and I pulled 4 movies out of the list, put it up on a poll, and this one won the poll very easily. It smashed the poll. So it won the poll very easily. But, it's not the horror movie I was expecting. I was expecting horror. It's just creepy. Now, again, only 20 minutes, but I had already been jump scared at this point in The Conjuring. So, so if it's going to be straight horror, then, they would have announced themselves by then. Another factor here is I'm watching this during the day, not at night, because I have to... Right now it's 2 p.m. This has to be posted, not just edited and exported and uploaded and processed, but posted in 6 hours and 46 minutes. So, I had to record this during the day. So, just what it is, what it is. I didn't mean to wait till the last day to record this thing. It's just I've been sick, and so it's been really hard to get everything done. But so far so good. I'm really liking it. I love the creepy vibe of it. And I haven't done many anime movies. I think I've still done less. I know I've done less than 10. I may have done less than 8, because that Pig movie, where the World War II guy, that's just an animated movie. I don't think that's an anime movie, right? Because it was done by Italians. And I don't think it was in the anime style. I don't think you have to be Japanese to do an anime, but I think it has to be that style, and that movie was not that style. So I've seen Your Name. I've seen Graveyard of Fireflies. I have seen Spirited Away. I'm watching this one now. And I think that's it. There may be another one in there. Maybe this is my 5th anime movie I've ever seen. So I haven't seen many, and I prefer series. Stephen King once said, a short story is like a passionate kiss, and a novel is like a long summer affair, right? You're at the beach, you meet somebody, you have an affair with them for 8 weeks while you're living at the beach for the summer, and then both of you are going back to different colleges, and so that's it. So it's like an 8-week affair, and then it's gone. And maybe next summer there'll be a sequel novel where you meet each other again and you have another 8-week affair. But that's the difference. The difference between a passionate kiss and 8 weeks of straight, smashing. There's a big difference there. Both are nice. Passionate kiss is very pleasurable. 8 weeks is very pleasurable. I prefer the 8 weeks to the passionate kiss. So movies are like the passionate kiss. TV series are like the 8 weeks, although they're getting shorter and shorter. TV series are becoming movie length. So then this whole thing I'm talking about falls apart. But I prefer the long-term commitment of a TV series, to a movie. That's one of the reasons why I've watched so many more anime series than I have anime movies. Another reason could be there's just not enough quality anime movies out there. I'm not sure, because I assume they're way more expensive. Anybody can put out an anime, and apparently relatively cheaply, but a movie just requires so much more money and so much better animation, and there's all those market pressures. But so far, if I was to rank the movies I can remember seeing, Your Name is my favorite. Then Spirited Away. Then what was that? Princess Mononoke. I guess that's another. So I've seen 6. Oh, and then I've seen that Christmas movie as well. So I've seen 7 anime movies. So Your Name is number 1. Spirited Away is number 2. Princess Mononoke is number 3. That Christmas movie, Tokyo Gods or whatever that was called, is number 4. Graveyard Fireflies is last. However many I've seen, that's last. This may jump up to number 1. We'll see. We're only 20 minutes in. But that's why I wanted to record my thoughts now, because maybe later I'll be like, man, this shit sucks. Put it below Graveyard Fireflies. I seriously doubt that'll happen. But so far, so good. We'll see what happens. I'll check back later. I only got another 20 minutes into it because I started feeling like crap. And this is very, very interesting, man. What they're doing with the Doctor and Paprika, I'm not sure if it's an alternate personality or if it's a parasite that's attached itself to her. So that's very interesting. It looks like this dude right here is the big bad, but he could just be a victim, so we don't know what's happening there. Still sus on Big Boy. He could be the secret big bad. I'm waiting for there to be a twist in this movie. I'm 42 minutes into it now, which means I've only got like 48 minutes left. So, I may be able to get this the rest of it in one stretch. I'm going to try to. But I really like it. Red is creepy and funny and whimsical, and Paprika, I'm talking about. I'm not sure what the hell she's doing or what her intentions are. She seems to be a force of good, but we don't know for sure. Love the detective. He keeps having recurring dreams. Maybe he killed this person he's been investigating a murder. Maybe he's the one who did it. We don't know. Dream seems to be implying that. But then it also implied he killed himself. So what's that about? He could be self-destructive, I guess. Dreams are all metaphors, right? At least Hollywood dreams are. And I consider anime Hollywood in this context. In other words, fictional dreams are metaphors, always. They're never just crap, Oh, this is just random crap that doesn't mean anything. That's never the case in big budget storytelling dreams, right? Another thing I've mentioned during the reaction, I would be seduced by this technology. It's risky. If you do it too much, you can be lost and never get out of it. It can kill you. I would still want to do it. Because I love dreaming. I would love to see other people's dreams. I'd love to influence dreams. I'd love to control people with dreams. Like, man, this shit would seduce me. I would turn evil in a heartbeat, and I'd be controlling people's dreams, just like Dream Scenario, but like you could control it. I'd be in there, man. Like this technology would seduce the hell out of me. more than time travel. And I could be seduced by time travel, but more than that, this technology would seduce me. So it's probably good that I'll never have access to it. Well, these are my thoughts up to this point. Let's get back into it. I had to stop again after just 4 minutes because I was worried about this. I'd left the space heater on and forgot to turn it off before I started the recording. Because like I said, I feel like crap, a little cold. It's not too cold here. Cold enough to have a space heater on, just kind of, make me feel a little better. And I forgot to turn it off. And I didn't realize that until I started recording. I'm like, well, first I thought, the hell with it. Like, just let it ride, it'll be fine. Then I started worrying about the noise. It was distracting me. So I stopped, went into the file that I just recorded, listened to it, and it didn't sound that bad. You'll see there'll be like a 4-minute section where the space heater's on. It actually didn't sound that bad. The fan is worse when I have the fan on. The fan's a little louder. So it was fine. But while I'm here, since I stopped it anyway, this happens sometimes. But, it's like you literally got to stop every 5 minutes. It's just shit happens, right? I shouldn't have to stop again. But I like the fact that people are getting stuck in a dream, trapped. It's almost like a virus, right? Like it's, a lot of people shit on season 3 of The 100. It's my favorite season. I love the idea of people getting trapped and turned, and it's distorting their personalities or trapping them, and and it being like a disease, and you don't know who's infected and who isn't, right? I love that concept. That's why season 3, like I said, is my favorite. Then you've got this where it's like, the dreams are merging. I don't think, I think it's going to get to a point where you don't even have to be tapped into the technology to be trapped in one of these dreams. And then you're going to have half the city in the dreams. And we've already seen what happens there. The problem with that is you'll get in car wrecks. People be operating heavy machinery, maybe a pilot or something. There's all kinds of dangerous situations where if you're dreaming and you're not in touch with reality, you could hurt yourself or a lot of other people. It's a damn problem. It's a major problem. So, I really like the direction this is going, and it is horrific. This is a horror movie. It's just it's a intellectual horror movie. In that, the more you think about the ramifications, the more horrific all this shit is. On top of the imagery and the sound effects, the sound design's really good, and the music's really good. It creeps you out constantly. But the intellectual horror is even better. So I'm really loving this movie. So I just finished Paprika. Excellent movie. Loved the dream stuff. It was very creepy. There was some definite nightmare feel happening in this movie. Highlights for me was when he stuck his hand inside of a woman and ripped her skin off and pulled out the real hair. That was effing creepy. And then the giggling and the tall giggling monsters, the children are creepy, and then it's like all the little dolls, and not knowing if you're ever you never truly know in movies like this. Or is it real or is it, what was it? Memorex? Is it real or is it Memorex? That was a thing, right? You never truly know. Is it real or is it Memorex? You just don't know. But they did that. And I really, really hope you've already seen this movie because, man, I don't want to spoil anything. But I'm assuming from this point forward you have seen it. Here's my thing. They never explain what the hell Paprika actually is. Alter ego. My theory is a parasite, like a dream, spiritual parasite of some sort. The fact that they're both there together is, I know it's in a dream state, but still they're both there together is kind of weird. It'd be interesting. That's my take on it. I'm not sure exactly what the intention is. They don't explain unless I missed it. And I felt like the love story is a little shoehorned in there. You didn't need a love story in this movie. You have enough going on. And maybe there was just some shit that went over my head where it's like it's important that she loves this man because somehow that makes her life complete. I don't know, man. To complete her character arc, she needs to be able to love somebody. Maybe that's where they're going with it, and I just missed it. To me, it seems superfluous. It felt kind of shoehorned in. But they kind of at the end of the movie they make a big deal out of it. They don't really do much before that, right? With it, now, it was antagonism. It was basically belligerent sexual tension, they call it. So there was that going on. But so that felt forced. But other than that, I love the themes. I love the imagery. Very creative. And I don't think you could do this kind of animation on a TV show budget. That's the only thing. I said I would prefer this as a TV series. I think The biggest thing this has taught me, and I'm going to talk about this when I record the rest of the podcast as a larger part of the overall main topic. I'll just say this here for now. I think I just prefer TV series to movies when it comes to anime. That's my final take on it. I know Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, they're coming out with movies. Demon Slayer is going to finish with some movies. And you've had TV seasons before that, so maybe that's okay for me. I'll see how I feel about that when we get to it. But I don't know, man. Like, I just prefer longer form storytelling. I prefer more time with the characters. I prefer more characterization. I've seen probably, like I said, I still think it's less than 10. I wasn't counting, like, the One Piece movies, and I've seen one of those My Hero Academia movies. I wasn't counting those, because those are continuations of TV shows or offshoots or whatever. I'm talking about, like, actual new stories, and my only exposure to the story is a movie. That's kind of what I'm saying. Those I don't really like. I like them. I've liked every, did I like Grave of Fireflies? I'm glad I watched it once. I would never watch it again. I didn't enjoy watching it. So did I like it? Probably not. But I didn't hate any of the movies I've seen. I would prefer a longer version of stories. So now, Your Name, that was a complete story. I didn't really feel this way after Your Name. I feel this way here. I feel like there's so much potential with this dreaming technology. I'm curious if they ever did a spin-off TV series of this. Let me actually look that up right now. If they did sequels to it. What the hell? Paprika 2. Paprika what? Is a 2021 Flash animated movie. What the hell is a Flash animated movie? That doesn't sound good. Based on the French cartoon of the same name. Was this a French cartoon? It's also a sequel to Paprika the movie, which released on June 14, 2019. What the hell is happening? There was a live-action adaptation of this. I bet it's terrible. Oh, no, it never happened. Okay. Several critics and scholars have noted many striking similarities that later appeared in the 2010 Christopher Nolan film Inception. Boom! I knew it. I am not alone. I have found my people. You thieving bastard! He stole that shit. I can't find any evidence. I don't get too far down this rabbit hole. Can't find any evidence they actually had. I don't know what they're talking about the French cartoon. This was not French. Can't find any evidence that this had a sequel or had a continuation as a spin-off series, because I would definitely watch that shit. Let me know if you know anything else about that. But yeah, to just put a button on this for the podcast, I really liked it. It was a very enjoyable experience. Loved the characters. Not really loving how ambiguous it was, and like I said during my reaction, I'll reiterate it here just in case you haven't watched it and don't intend to watch it. But not really loving the shoehorned in romantic storyline that just felt forced and just, we don't need it. It was shoehorned in. Shoehorned in is probably the best way to put it. It's not forced, but it's definitely shoehorned in. And it's not that I don't like it. I like ambiguous things, but I would have liked a little bit more information. What the hell is going on with the Doctor and Paprika? Are they the same person? Alter egos? Is she a parasite? That's my theory, that she's a parasite, a dream parasite, attached herself to this person. Parasite's the negative term. What is the... there's a positive term when two creatures help each other. Symbiotic relationship, that's what it is. A symbiotic relationship. This, when I say parasite, I mean it could be like a symbiotic relationship where, like, she gets to experience some of our world, and she helps our main character, the Doctor. So, parasite is negative. Parasites hurt the host. They take from the host and give nothing back. Symbiotic relationships, there are certain parasite-like creatures that follow whales around and will eat the things like the bacteria and stuff that attacks the whales and makes them feel bad. So it's like they clean them. They keep them clean. And so they function as a parasite. They stay with you, and they're like crawling on you, but they help you, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship. So I see her as like a symbiote, right? Like a symbiotic relationship rather than a parasite. but the same concept. Like that's what I think she is. But like, there's no real answers here. And I'm not saying there have to be. So I'm not putting this in the category of I'm annoyed. But I will say that I would like to have had more information. I love the character. She was whimsical. It was fun. And every time she showed up, the movie got more exciting to me. Because she's just whimsical and fun and powerful. And I like all those things. So I really enjoyed the movie. Now, not so much a horror movie. But these are my thoughts on the actual movie. I'm going to talk more generally about anime movies and horror movies and stuff like that as the rest of this section of the podcast. But these are my thoughts after having just finished the movie. So I actually had time to sleep on this since I recorded the last bit where I was handing off to what you just saw. Decided to go ahead and get some sleep, and so now it's the next morning. And I don't know, I was just sleeping. Like, I wasn't really sitting there contemplating too much, but like, I feel I have some evolving thoughts, some developing thoughts here. That's a little different than if I recorded this last night, because last night I was just going to talk about how, well, it basically reiterate what I'd said right after having watched Paprika, which would be, yeah, I just like series more than I do movies. And it reminds me, I'm a huge Colts fan, and they're kicking ass this year. Every week, they're just, scoring and scoring and scoring. And so I'll go to the Colts subreddit, and once the Colts get about 35, 38 points, some fan will post a GIF, and it's happened every single week, and it makes me laugh every week. It's Kylo Ren when they're firing on Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker at the end of the what is that called? Force Awakens, I think? Yeah, Force Awakens. That's the first of the sequel trilogy. And they're firing on Luke Skywalker, and it's having no effect on him. And so Kylo's like, more! It's just a loop where he's saying more. So the fans just want more scoring. Come on, let's do it. Let's pile it on. Let's score more points. Assholes, right? We won the game. It's enough. But it makes me laugh every week. And I kind of feel that way. That image flashed in my mind last night when I finished the movie. I was like, more. I want more. And I want more, right? I really do want more Paprika. But here's the evolving thought that I've only had this morning. Because I mentioned last night that I felt satisfied after watching Her Name. And I felt satisfied after watching Tokyo Godfathers, I think it's called, something like that. But I didn't feel satisfied watching this, and it really is hard for me to remember the anime movies I've seen. Spirited Away, I felt satisfied. Princess Mononoke, I didn't really feel satisfied, but not enough to talk about. I was like, well, I wish I could have gotten more of that, right? This one, though, it was very, very strong. The feeling that I wanted more was very strong. And so, here's what I think it is, actually. Why am I satisfied with some of these movies and not with others? I think the really the character deep dives, when they can adequately do a deep dive on a character within the time frame they have, 1 to 2 hours, essentially, then I feel like they've satisfied the character arc, and I've gotten enough of the character, I understand them, and plus the story is complete. I can move on. It's a complete story. The story is finished. It's not open-ended. It's not an open-ended world. Spirited Away, she visited there. She basically explored everything she could, and then she comes back, right? So it's done. Like there's not much more you can get out of that, right? And then her character arc is complete. And then Your Name, like the whole time travel thing's satisfied, but like they've now met each other again when they're older. The time travel thing isn't happening anymore, and there's no reason why it would. Body swapping, I think you might even see. It's kind of like time traveling and body swapping, which is very interesting. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie. But it's, the character arcs of both characters are satisfying. They're complete. I would watch a sequel, but I don't need a sequel, right? And the magic, we'll call it magic. The magic has been, explored. We've gone about as far as we can with that. So, that is, complete. Whereas Princess Mononoke, there's more you could explore. They may have had sequels, I don't know. This one definitely. I was literally, as soon as I finished, I looked to see if they had any sequels. I couldn't really find anything. I don't think they did. But like, I don't feel like the character arcs were complete, and I definitely don't feel like the magic was completely explored. I feel like there's a lot more you could do there. We want to explore the dreams. You know, what can you do with it? Like, it was this one. There's so many other stories you can tell with this technology. This one was, you have somebody who wants to destroy the technology and is using the technology to achieve that end and basically become a dream god in essence. You know, and he thinks that, you know, technology shouldn't be going here, so he's going to use it against you to prove that point, essentially, is what was happening. But there's so many other things you can do. You can use it for therapy. Like I said, what if somebody has a repressed memory and they can only explore it in the dream world? What if there's a serial killer somewhere in a city and you can search everybody's dreams to find out who it is? You know, what if somebody has repressed memories from something else from childhood and they need to explore those memories to reconnect with their family and find out where they came from? Like, that's just off the top of my head. Without even sitting there, if I was to sit down and write down a list, I could probably come up with at least a dozen interesting storylines you could do with this technology. They told one story with the technology. This has legs. That's what they call it. When a story has legs, it should be a TV series. When a story doesn't have legs, when a premise doesn't have legs, then you can tell a movie with it. Like, a premise could be, there's basically a tiny wormhole between, you know, the Midwest and the United States in 2025 to 1400s France near Paris. I think that was the concept of timeline. You know, you can go this one place in time. Whenever you can go back in time, but it's this one place and this one time. And that's the only thing you can do, right? And you can't go back to the present day. It's a one-way trip, and it goes to this one place, this one time. That's it. That's the only place you can go. Because it's a wormhole. You know, it's a stable wormhole, but it's a wormhole, and that's all you can do. There's only so many stories you can tell that way, right? Okay, so yeah, we can keep going to this one place, but how many stories? We can tell maybe one. Maybe you can get a trilogy of movies out of that. Probably just one movie. So that story, that premise doesn't have legs. Now, if you can change where you go, you suddenly have a story with legs. You see what I mean? So it's like, it depends on the premise as established within the story. And so some of these movies really have legs. The premise has legs. But see, Princess Mononoke, the premise had legs, but the character arcs were complete. That's why I was a little bit more satisfied than I was here. I don't feel like the story, I don't feel like the character arcs were complete in this Paprika. We never got into why she has an alter ego. We never got into what the hell that is. And yeah, she just suddenly, okay, I guess I'm going to marry this dude. But that, to me, I know they foreshadowed a little bit here and there, but I just thought they were friends. So to me, it came out of nowhere. That's not the movie's fault. I just wasn't thinking about romance in this particular movie. But still, that wasn't what I wanted for her. I wanted to find out what the hell's happening with this alter ego. What is that? And she, you know, and I get the idea. And maybe, you know, watch it a couple more times could probably answer a couple questions. But I think she stole 3 of those headsets and was using them for therapy, because we know Paprika had some headsets. She had one for herself and one for a client. So she had 2 headsets, right? You know, and so she was, now maybe she wasn't stealing them, maybe she was taking them back and forth, so they never knew they were missing. Now they had 3 that were missing. And for a while that was confusing. Did Paprika take them? Did it seem like she did, because she had a couple sets. But I think the doctor was probably just taking them back and forth. And, you know, they never knew they were missing, but then there's 3 others that were missing, I think. I'd have to rewatch it to make sure. Just more about why she would take him in the first place, why she's doing private therapy, off the books therapy with people. What was happening with her and this cop. How that started in the first place. There's so many things you can do. There's so many things. We don't know anything about her family. There's just so much. It feels like there's so much more to explore with the character. Especially the Paprika shit, but even beyond that, right? Like, so the character arc wasn't fully explored. And she's really the only one, you know, the cop kind of gets a character arc, which is kind of interesting, and he's kind of complete. Like, I would love to see more of him, but you know, I don't need to see more of him. I need to see more of her, because I don't feel like hers was complete. So that was interesting. You know, that had legs, and then the premise has legs. Like I said, there's so many other stories you can tell. So that is why I think that, like, I prefer the TV series to the movies, but it's more complicated than that. And that's what I wanted to delve into at this point. Is I think if you're going to make a movie, either now maybe you make it with an eye towards hopefully we'll get a series after this, or maybe you're adapting a manga that is much longer, but you're adapting one chapter of the manga to be a movie, right? That's why the story has legs. That's entirely possible. Maybe this manga is much longer and goes in all these details are there and everything's answered and all that stuff, but they adapted one movie, right? One movie's worth of story. That's probably what happened. But I think that I would prefer to see movies that tell a complete story and they don't have legs and the character arcs are complete. Or give me a series of it. That's kind of where I come out on all this. Now, one more thing as far as like horror movies goes, in anime horror movies. I think it's damn near impossible for anime to be as scary as live action. Because I always talk about this when it comes to storytelling. You should only ask the audience to give you one gift. Give you grace on one thing. To let one thing slide. And the problem is people, a lot of like armchair storytellers and people who've never tried writing, never tried storytelling, especially, I'm talking about Reddit idiots, essentially. They don't understand this. So you will hear things like, well, it's a story with superheroes. They can fly, they can lift cars, they can cure any disease, and they can heal any wound. So why are you asking why this police investigation doesn't make any sense? Yeah. Who cares if they didn't run a DNA test because people can fly? Here's the thing. This is what I've been saying. You got to ask the audience to let one thing slide. Now, if you're telling a fantastical story, that's the one thing. So you don't get anything else to slide. So if you have superheroes and people can fly, or there's aliens, or there's demons and fairies, or there's time travel, or there's any of this shit that we don't have, faster than light travel, you've already asked the audience for the one thing to let slide. Because the audience has to be like, I know faster than light travel is impossible, but I'm going to allow them to say that it's not and that these people figured it out. That's the one thing. You only get one thing. You can't then come back around and ask for something else. So you can't be like faster than light travel and time travel and fairies and demons because you're asking for too much. But more importantly, more specifically, you can't be asking people to buy into these hand-drawn characters. These hand-drawn images are real people. Okay? So we're expected to buy into the fact that these are real people, even though it's hand-drawn, it's animation, it isn't real. They never filmed a real person pretending to be somebody. Even with CGI, even if we're talking about Avatar, you still know there's real people underneath that computer animation, right? That's kind of a good blend between live and animation. But there's a real person there somewhere. So you're more likely to accept it as reality without having to, bend over backwards. We're having to bend over backwards to accept these hand drawings as real people. And typically we can do that. And we can even accept, okay, it's hand drawn, so we got to accept that. But then you're asking us for a second thing, believe in time travel, believe in fairies, believe in demons. Okay, we can do that too. I mean, it's fine. Like, we don't have a problem accepting demons. So you're really asking us for two things. But we can't immerse ourselves as much in a hand drawing. I mean, when I say hand drawing, you can be computer. You know what I mean? I'm talking about their drawings. You didn't point a camera at a live person. We can't immerse ourselves enough to be scared. So I don't think there is. Now, the animes and any animated movie or any animated medium, like Marvel Zombies, I had the same problem with Marvel Zombies. And if it had been live action, it would have been a lot scarier. Exact same images, every shot the same, everything exactly the same, it would have been scarier because with people, live action people, I buy into it. I don't have to accept that this is real. I only have to accept ghosts are real, or I have to accept zombies are real. But it's live action, so I can immediately immerse myself. The Conjuring scared the crap out of me. I didn't get a chance to watch Conjuring 2 last night. I'm going to tonight. I have to tonight because it drops tomorrow. But that will scare me way more than Paprika did, even though there's probably going to be more horrifying shit we saw in Paprika. There were some genuinely super creepy things in Paprika. There were some scary things in Paprika. If it had been live action, I probably would have gotten jump scared 3 or 4 times. But it wasn't live action. It's animation. I don't think it's possible to immerse yourself deeply enough to be horrified, to be genuinely scared of an animated movie. A lot of people can't do it with live action. You see it all the time. Oh, I've never had a movie scare me. Well, congratulations. You're incapable of immersing yourself into a movie, which means you get only 10% of enjoyment out of movies. We get 100%. You're only getting 10% because you're incapable of immersing yourself in a movie. Congratulations. Thank you for telling us about your weakness. Because that's what that is. That's a blind spot. It's a weakness. If you've never cried at a movie, then you're incapable of immersing yourself in a movie. You know, and if you've never been scared by a movie, you're incapable of immersing yourself in a movie. That's a you problem. That's not the movie's problem. Don't go around bragging about that shit. If this is you, if you've never been scared by a movie, ever, in your entire life, don't be going around telling people that. Because what you're doing is you're telling people you're deficient in some way. Because you're incapable of immersing yourself into a movie. So, that's not something to be proud of. I mean, you know, whatever. Like, you are, maybe you're wired differently. I think it's that people put up barriers and they don't want to immerse themselves. And they want to create a separation between them and the movie because, you know, ooh, I'm too hardcore to be scared, you know, and all that shit. Whatever, you know. It's a you problem. So, live action, it's just easy to immerse yourself. And maybe there are people out there who are capable of immersing themselves into an animated movie enough to be scared by it. I envy you. Now I'm the one who's deficient. I'm the one who's you know, has that weakness. Because I would love to be able to do that, but I can't. I can't because I'm already buying into this shit as real. And I do. I'll cry over an anime. I will be emotionally impacted by an anime. But I can't, so I can immerse myself to a certain level. I can't get there. I can't immerse myself enough to be scared by an anime or any animated medium. And that's too bad. I wish I could. But that's, so, the main topic is about anime movies being scary and, you know, are they or not? And for me, they're not, and they're never able to be. They're incapable of being. Next Halloween, I'll try some more. I've gotten a couple suggestions from Barracuda and some other people. And so I'll try some others, and maybe one of those will scare me. And then I'll know that I can be immersed. It's just I need the right movie. But to this point, I think it's a medium problem. It's, you know, because it's drawn, it's just a bridge too far for me. So that's my take on it. Let me know if you've ever been scared by an animation of any kind. And, you know, if you've ever been immersed enough. And, you know, also, that's why I never find, like, I'm never, like, aroused by anime nudity. Because, again, it's drawn. It's not real. There was no real person that's ever, you know, had that physical appearance. So, it's always a little weird to me, like, people talk about the fan service. Oh, let's see this ass shaking in our face. It's fine, you know. But, so that maybe, you know, because there are people who are aroused by that thing, or they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't show the large tits. They wouldn't show the nudity. They wouldn't show the ass in our face. Like, let's pan the camera from the legs to the ass before we cut to the face, you know. They wouldn't do that if nobody was ever aroused. I never have been because it's drawn. It's not real. But maybe that tells me it's very possible that other people can immerse themselves enough to feel like this is real without, you know, the drawing getting in the way of that. So I would be very curious. You don't have to tell me about being aroused, but tell me if you've ever been scared by animation. You know, that's a very interesting conversation to me. Because me, I'm not capable of it. But yeah, so that's it for our holiday, you know, Halloween 2 podcast special talking about Halloween and scary shit and all that stuff. We've got Thanksgiving next month. I definitely want to put some food-based topics on both polls for both podcasts I do in November. So, and then Christmas following that, so we'll do some Christmas stuff. But it's never too early to start suggesting Christmas movies. I'm not doing any Thanksgiving movies. I don't think there are very many that are any good, I wouldn't think. But give me Christmas movie suggestions. Give me Christmas anime series suggestions. One-shots, shorts, whatever. And I'll see if a more anime-based 12 Days of Christmas will be more successful than the live-action 12 Days of Halloween was. So, go ahead and get started on that stuff. All right. I don't have a hot take this week. I guess nothing's really pissed me off. So we'll save that one. But I do have current anime watching ranks. Let me double check this. I feel like I'm down to 7 series, and I know I finished a couple. But it feels like I'm missing something here. No, I seem to have them all. These seem to be the only ones I'm watching right now. But there's 2 new ones here. All right, anyway, One Piece is at the bottom. Right now, they're doing this dragging ass storyline. Where, like, it took 4 to 5 episodes for a 10-minute countdown. And the episodes are 22 minutes long. Just dragging. So they're at the bottom. I'm punishing them. You're in timeout. Because it's finished. But still, I'm still bitter. Especially when I'm having to wait 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in between episodes. And you're going to pull this shit on me. So I'm bitter. So there we are. Boruto's next. Not for any other reason. Everything else is excellent. I'm really enjoying Boruto right now. But somebody's got to be 6. There's no shame in 6. Right? JoJo is 5. Pretty much enjoying that. Just the rest of them are better. Now, there's 2 new ones, like I said. I think they have the gloss of being new. Ooh, new. Dating somebody new is more exciting than dating somebody you've known for 2 years. You know, I know that's hateful to say, but that's the truth. It's exciting. Maybe it won't be exciting for very long, but it's exciting at the beginning, isn't it? So, Demon Slayer. That's number 4. And I'm so intrigued by the world building in the demons specifically. What are they capable of? We've seen demons not be evil. To choose to not hurt people. We know of 3 for sure. 2 for sure. One of them, I think she's been, mind controlled, brainwashed, and her love of her brother have all combined to make her special. I don't think she's chosen the path willingly. I'm not even sure how sentient she is. Half of what she reacts to is from brainwashing. She thinks all humans are her family. That's brainwashing. That's not choice. That's like putting an electric shock collar on you, and every time you try to hurt somebody, they shock you. Well, you're not going to do it. Essentially, it's a leash. So we haven't seen her of her own free will, free of any manipulation, decide not to kill a human, other than the very first episode when she chose not to kill her brother. Now that was love. So that affected the choice, but it wasn't personal choice. Since then, I think it's been some brainwashing. So where does that go? What is with this underground demon society who are rebelling against the other demons? That's all very interesting to me. I like all that stuff. All right, so next is Garden of Sinners. I'm actually behind on that. I should have put out an episode last week. So I'm going to be doing 2 episodes back to back. Probably tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to get them at. I'm hoping that my goal is Saturday. But I'm going to be gone all day Friday and all day Saturday. So I don't know, I'm under the gun here. I've got all day today and all day tomorrow, and that's it until Sunday. And then Sunday I'm going to rewash because I'm going to be driving like 700 miles over the 2 days. It's just going to be insane. So, who knows? But I still, from where I am, I've watched up through episode 6 at this point. I'm getting ready to watch 7 and 8. I'm really enjoying it, and they're really fleshing it out. This is going to be another one I'm going to miss a lot, even though we've gotten way more than just a 2-hour movie. In fact, I think I said I've watched 5. So 4 of them were 1 hour, and then one of them was. So I've seen 6 hours so far. The equivalent of a trilogy. And there's still so much more. It has legs. You talk about legs. This series has legs. So hopefully there's more after this. Because I think 8 is just a. Wait a minute. Maybe you're off here. Maybe I've only seen 5. And I'm getting ready to watch 6 and 7. I can't remember. I think that's what it is. I think I'm getting ready to watch 6 and 7. And because 8 is an epilogue, so I don't know how long that's going to be. And so, yeah, we're getting down to it. I'm going to be sad to see this show go because it's really good. I like it more than Face Day Night, and I like Face Day Night. But this one is just a very different vibe, but it has the same feel, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. All right, Gintama is number 2. I mean, they're always going to be near the top because it's absolutely hilarious. Even though I'm late on that, too. I need to watch some of that. I got sick last week. I don't remember. I probably have mentioned it 5 times, but, I don't remember. But Need to watch some more of that. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to be binging that quite a bit. Like a pretty good run of those episodes. But hilarious. They're getting more into serialized storylines. I'm not sure how that's going to play out because I think slapstick comedy, which is what this is, it's more than just slapstick. It's also satire and it's many other things, observational. But this brand of comedy is, I think, best in short doses. So, one-shot episodes. Typically, I love serialized storylines way more than I love Monster of the Week. But I think comedy is the exception. Comedy should be Monster of the Week. Comedy should not be 9 episodes. It shouldn't be 6 episodes. So, I don't know if this has become less funny to me over time because they're doing more longer storylines. I don't know. That doesn't mean I think it will. I'm saying I don't know. But it's something I'm worried about. So we'll see how that plays out. And the Apothecary Diaries, which I've already talked about extensively in this podcast, is number 1. I'm really loving the show. I love the characters. I love the premise. It's basically Monster of the Week. Basically problems she needs to solve per week, but then they're doing other things as well. I love the interactions. I hope she doesn't hook up with the eunuch. I have a bad feeling they're going to expose him as he actually still has a dick or balls or whatever it is they take away. I'm not sure on that. I think they take away the balls. Whatever. I think he's going to be exposed that he has everything he needs. But, I'm just, that's not what I'm watching the show for. So, hopefully, he stays what he is. And hopefully he stays out of arm's reach of her. You keep your ass across the room and stop touching her. But yeah, that's really good. I really like that a lot. So yeah, I guess I need to take on a couple new series. Not right now, not until I'm caught up with everything, but once I'm caught up with everything, I may take on something else. One of the things I tried, or maybe something new, this Death is Waiting? What was it? Ariel was just telling me about this in the feedback. Death is Waiting or something, I don't know. But yeah, so this is the podcast, and we've got, like I said, in 2 weeks, we're going to be some kind of a food-based topic. I'm going to put a poll out today. We'll see what happens. But yeah, other than that, I will see you in 2 weeks.